More than 5,000 artifacts were found after the Titanic's tragic sinking. What's most captivating about them isn't just how they look, but the stories they hold. Here we've collected some of the most remarkable ones. Get ready to be astonished as we unveil 5 chilling artifacts recovered from the Titanic. Each one will send shivers down your spine and might even make you rethink that cruise you're planning. Join us as we piece together one of the greatest tragedies in history. Number 5. The photograph of the iceberg. When the Titanic struck the iceberg, 17-year-old Bernice Palmer of Canada and her mother were on the Carpathia, an ocean liner heading from New York to Europe, where the two planned to take a cruise of the Mediterranean. The Carpathia, however, received a distress call from the sinking Titanic and raced toward the wreckage. Palmer had received a handheld Kodak camera for her birthday. When her ship arrived at the scene, she stood on deck and took a picture of the iceberg that tore into the Titanic. She also took several pictures of survivors as they boarded the Carpathia and received warm blankets and clothing. The Carpathia did not have enough food for the 700 Titanic survivors it brought aboard, and it returned to the US. Palmer quickly sold her film to a photo publishing agency for $10. The agency developed Palmer's pictures and profited from publishing the image of the iceberg. In 1986, Palmer donated her camera to the Smithsonian Institution. Number 4. The violin. If you've seen the movie Titanic by James Cameron, you probably remember the scene where the band plays as the ship sinks. But did you know that this actually happened? It's a true story. Among the items recovered from the sunken ship was the violin played as it went into the water. After the ship hit the iceberg, a band of 8 musicians was asked to play music to help calm the frightened passengers as they loaded into lifeboats. Many witnesses later said that the musicians continued to play until they died, none surviving the tragedy. One of the saddest parts is that the band's leader, Wallace Hartley, was found in the water a few days later with his violin case still strapped to his back, taken by a rescuer as a memento. His funeral in England was attended by tens of thousands of people. The violin was discovered years later and identified as Hartley's. The musicians weren't obligated to stay and could have saved themselves, but they chose to comfort the passengers in their final moments. As the ship sank, they played "Nearer, My God, to Thee." Wallace's violin was eventually returned to his fiancée and later sold for a staggering $1.7 million, making it one of the most valuable Titanic artifacts ever sold. The story is deeply emotional, and the bravery of Wallace and his band will always be remembered by survivors and people around the world. Number 3. A shoe. One of the rarest items recovered from the Titanic is a man's shoe, notable for its dismal condition. At first glance, it appears torn and worn out, but closer inspection reveals deeper insights. This poorly preserved leather shoe only retains parts like the welt, top cap, and partial quarter with the insole. Examining the shoe serves as a poignant reminder of the real individuals affected by the tragedy. It's easy to get lost in the vastness of the disaster, focusing solely on numbers and statistics. Yet, it's equally sobering to consider the emotional turmoil endured by the thousands aboard the colossal ship in their final moments. Many had dreams of starting anew in America, but tragically never reached its shores. The fragile state of the ship further emphasizes the relentless power of the ocean and the immense waves that led to its demise. Number 2. Sheet music played by the band. The band's sheet music was miraculously recovered from the North Atlantic. Among the wreckage were 2 pieces, On Mobile Bay from around 1910 and Put Your Arms Around Me Honey from the Broadway show Madame Sherry. The latter belonged to Howard Irwin, who was supposed to board the Titanic as part of his friends' around-the-world trip. However, Irwin didn't make it on board, possibly because he was robbed before the ship sailed. His friend, Henry Suderhold Jr., and his belongings did make it onto the ship, but Suderhold tragically perished in the disaster. Learning about the music played on the Titanic brings us closer to imagining what life was like on board, despite the glamorous descriptions. This discovery only adds to the immense tragedy of the Titanic, making it feel more real and profound than ever before. Number 1. Keys. Amidst the chaos of the sinking Titanic, Samuel Hemming, a crew member, became an unexpected hero thanks to a special set of keys. These keys played a crucial role in saving many lives. Hemming used them to retrieve lanterns from below deck, which were used to light the way for passengers boarding lifeboats. Getting these lanterns wasn't easy. Hemming had to brave dangerous conditions below deck to retrieve them. Despite the risks, he succeeded and helped guide many to safety. After surviving the disaster, Hemming kept the keys with him for the rest of his life as a reminder of his bravery. Passed down through generations, the keys eventually ended up in the hands of a private collector. Interestingly, they weren't the only Titanic artifacts to attract attention. In 2016, a Titanic locker key was sold at auction for $100,000, showing the enduring fascination with the Titanic and its stories of courage. In the late 20th and early 21st centuries, artifacts from the ship formed the basis of a highly successful exhibit that toured the world, and a profitable business was developed, transporting tourists to the Titanic's wreck. However, many opposed the removal of items, and the issue became highly contentious, complicated by the fact that the wreckage lies in international waters and is thus outside the jurisdiction of any country. As we come to the end of our journey exploring the Titanic's eerie artifacts, we're struck by how real and close to home these stories feel. It's incredible to see parts of the stories we've heard for so long, like those in the movie, take on a new level of reality through these relics. It's a somber reminder that more than 1,500 lives were lost in just one night, as unsuspecting people faced the wrath of nature on the open sea. And with that, we wrap up today's video. We hope you've enjoyed watching and learning about these chilling artifacts. Let us know in the comments which artifact gave you goosebumps, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell for more fascinating content like this. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.